Have you ever looked in the mirror and seen not just your reflection, but the possibility of something greater, something brighter, something untapped, hidden just beneath the surface of who you think you are? That quiet whisper inside you telling you there's more to become, more to feel, more to express. It's not a fantasy. It's a signal from the part of you that hasn't given up, that still believes you are destined to evolve. The Glow Evolution mentor inside of you is calling. This isn't about pretending to be perfect or hiding your flaws. This is about igniting the glow that has been buried under doubt, fear, rejection, and delay. You've carried burdens, been told what you cannot be, and made to feel like your dreams were too wild to chase. But within every single tear you've shed, every sleepless night where you questioned your worth, and every moment you stayed silent when you wanted to scream, a spark was forming. That spark is your glow. And evolution begins the moment you decide that your past does not have the authority to define your next step. Your glow begins with inner transformation, not external validation. This truth forms the foundation of real lasting evolution. So often people search for worth in outside noise, applause, followers, compliments, or achievements, but those things are fleeting. They shift with moods, opinions, and moments. Real glow doesn't waver based on who notices you or who doesn't. It comes alive when you finally realize you were always enough, even when no one was watching. The Glow Evolution mentor within you isn't born in the spotlight. It rises in the shadows, in the quiet moments when you choose to believe in your light even when it hasn't yet been seen. We live in a world that constantly tells us to prove our value. We're expected to show evidence of success before we're taken seriously. But what if your power isn't found in the proof? It's found in the process. What if your evolution is happening right now, silently and visibly under the surface? And that transformation is the most sacred part of your journey. The truth is, real growth is not always glamorous. It's messy, it's lonely, it's filled with self-doubt, questions, and silent victories. Yet those are the very places where your glow is shaped. Your confidence isn't built from the applause of others. It's built in the dark when you choose to keep going, keep trusting, and keep believing even when the world isn't cheering for you. The moment you stop waiting for permission to shine, everything changes. You start creating from your heart, not for attention. You start speaking because you have something to say, not because you're trying to impress. You begin to glow because you've accepted your identity, not because you're trying to fit into someone else's definition of worth. That's what inner transformation does. It sets you free. It rewires your mindset. It heals the parts of you that believed your value depended on performance. It reminds you that your light isn't rented, it's your birthright. And when that shift happens, you no longer chase validation. You become rooted, centered, grounded in who you are. You trust your instincts. You speak your truth. You show up fully. That kind of glow is untouchable. It doesn't fade when someone criticizes you. It doesn't disappear when plans fall apart. It grows stronger because it's no longer dependent on approval. It's fueled by authenticity, and authenticity is magnetic. The most powerful people you admire, the ones whose presence changes a room, they're not loud because they need attention. They're radiant because they've done the inner work. They've faced their shadows. They've owned their stories. They've embraced both their light and their scars. And that inner alignment becomes outer glow. That's what makes them leaders. That's what makes them mentors, not their perfection, but their presence, their truth, their energy. And that same power lives inside you. When you stop measuring your worth by how visible you are and start measuring it by how honest you are with yourself, you evolve, you move differently, you create not from a place of need, but from a place of overflow. You realize that being underestimated was actually a gift. It gave you time to build a foundation no one can shake. And when your glow is rooted in who you truly are, it can't be dimmed by anyone's doubt, including your own. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real ones. People who've gone through the fire and came out glowing. People who shine from within, not because they're trying to impress, but because they finally come home to themselves. You are that person, and your evolution begins the moment you stop looking outside for what has always lived within. Your glow isn't waiting to be discovered, it's waiting to be remembered. Every setback is a setup for a stronger comeback. That truth alone has the power to rewrite how you see your past, your pain, and your purpose. It changes how you walk through storms because you begin to understand that everything meant to destroy you was actually preparing you. Every closed door, every broken promise, every loss you've endured wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something more powerful being built inside you. We often think strength is something you're born with, but true strength is forged. It's developed in moments when everything feels like it's falling apart, yet you choose to rise anyway. Life has a way of testing the ones who are meant to evolve, and those tests don't always look fair. They can come disguised as betrayal, heartbreak, failure, or rejection. But when you shift your perspective and see them not as punishments but as lessons, they no longer have the power to control you. They become fuel. They become the very reasons why you become wiser, bolder, and more relentless in your growth. You start to see that your comeback isn't delayed, it's being prepared. And the deeper your setback cuts, the higher your rise will be, because those low points aren't the end of your story, they are the foundation of your next chapter. We are conditioned to think that struggle is a sign of weakness, but struggle is actually the birthplace of transformation. You cannot become the Glow Evolution mentor without having lived through the nights that broke you, the mornings that tested you, and the days when you thought you had nothing left to give. Those are the very moments that carve the wisdom, the empathy, the fire that now lives inside of you. You're not here by accident. You're still breathing because there's more for you to become. You didn't survive just to remain the same. You survived so you could rise different, stronger, clearer, more powerful than before. You see, a setback often feels like a stop sign, but it's not. It's a detour to realignment. It forces you to pause and reflect, to shed what's no longer serving you, and to come back not just restored but elevated. The version of you that breaks is not the version of you that comes back. The comeback version is wiser, more grounded, and more focused. It knows what matters. It carries the glow of someone who has seen darkness and refused to be consumed by it. That is a glow no success can imitate. It's earned through fire. And when you begin to look at your setbacks as setups, something inside you shifts. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And you start asking, what is this preparing me for? That mindset is what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. Your glow becomes unshakable because it's not based on circumstances, it's built through them. You begin to expect growth even in the pain. You begin to see the bigger picture even when your vision is blurred by disappointment. The comeback is not just about bouncing back to where you were, it's about rising to levels you never thought possible. It's about evolving into a version of yourself that only adversity could activate. And that version of you is the mentor, the guide, the light, the example. You're not just glowing because life was easy. You're glowing because you refused to let it break you. That glow is resilience in motion. It's the comeback written into your DNA. So when you feel like giving up, remember what's being built inside you. Remember that every great story includes chapters of struggle. Remember that you're not behind, you're being refined. The setback isn't the ending, it's the rising point. And your comeback won't just change your life, it will awaken others to rise too. The mentor you've been waiting for is already inside you. That realization is one of the most powerful breakthroughs you can ever experience. So many people spend years looking outside themselves for direction, for guidance, for someone to come along and show them the way. But the truth is, no one else knows your journey like you do. No one else has lived your pain, walked in your shoes, or carried the weight of your dreams. The person who truly understands what you need, what you fear, what you're capable of, has been with you all along. That person is you. You are your own Glow Evolution mentor, not because you have all the answers, but because you have the strength to seek them. It begins with trusting your voice, the one that speaks in quiet moments, the one that tells you to keep going when everything else says stop. That voice is your intuition, your inner guide, the mentor that has seen you through every heartbreak, every delay, every decision that shaped your life. But that voice often gets drowned out by noise, by doubt, by fear, by the opinions of others. You start believing you need someone else to tell you who you are, when in reality you've always had the power to define that for yourself. The glow begins to grow the moment you stop waiting for someone to save you and start becoming the person who shows up for yourself every single day. It's easy to admire others and think they have something you don't. But what you admire in others is often a reflection of something dormant within you. Their strength, their confidence, their courage, it resonates because it already lives inside of you, waiting to be activated. You don't become a mentor by reaching a destination. You become one when you choose to walk through the fire and keep your heart open. When you keep growing, even when no one's watching. When you take your pain and turn it into wisdom, and your fear and turn it into fuel. When you realize that the guide you've been searching for is already within, you take back your power, you stop looking for approval, you stop waiting for someone to believe in you. You begin to speak life over yourself. You begin to affirm your own path. You begin to trust that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. And from that place of inner alignment, everything begins to shift. Your energy changes, your choices change. You start showing up not from a place of lack, but from a place of strength. You start mentoring yourself in the moments when no one else is there to pick you up, and that self-mentorship becomes the foundation of your evolution. Being your own mentor doesn't mean you do it alone. It means you lead yourself first. You become the voice of encouragement you needed when you were younger. You become the hand that reaches out when you feel like slipping. You become the reminder that you've come too far to quit. And over time, that internal glow becomes so strong that it begins to radiate outward. Others see it, they feel it, they're drawn to it, because nothing is more inspiring than someone who's taken their journey seriously, someone who didn't wait for permission to rise. You've survived enough to lead, you've learned enough to guide, you've overcome enough to speak from truth, and even if you're still healing, still growing, still figuring things out, your glow is real, your evolution is happening, and the mentor within you is getting louder, bolder, clearer. It's time to stop waiting. It's time to trust what's already been placed inside you. The one who knows the way, the one who's been through it all, the one who has the strength to evolve, that person is you. You are your own glow evolution mentor, and it's time to rise. You're not here to survive, you're here to evolve and illuminate. That truth changes everything. It shifts your purpose from just getting by to rising above. So many people live their entire lives stuck in survival mode, waking up each day just trying to make it through, repeating the same patterns, silencing their dreams, and shrinking their light to fit into places they were never meant to stay. But survival is not your destiny. You were born for more than just existing. You were born to glow from the inside out, to evolve into the version of yourself that this world desperately needs, and to illuminate not only your path but the paths of others who are watching you in silence, hoping they're not the only ones trying to rise. When you shift your focus from surviving to evolving, you stop accepting just enough. You stop settling for almost. You begin to realize that pain isn't where your journey ends, it's where your transformation begins. Evolution happens when you choose to turn wounds into wisdom, when you stop asking, why me, and start declaring, try me. That kind of mindset doesn't just help you overcome, it changes who you are. You grow, and that growth becomes your glow. Not the kind that's shallow or forced, but the kind that radiates from your soul because you've done the hard work of healing, learning, unlearning, and becoming. To evolve is to rise through discomfort. It's not always pretty. It means facing the truth about who you've been, what you've believed, and how you've been holding yourself back. It means shedding old layers, breaking toxic cycles, and walking away from environments that don't recognize your value. And that takes courage. It takes self-respect. It takes a willingness to be misunderstood for the sake of becoming who you were always meant to be. And when you do that, when you truly begin to evolve, your presence becomes a lighthouse. Not because you're perfect, but because you're honest. Not because you have it all together, but because you chose not to stay stuck. Illumination is not about being in the spotlight, it's about becoming the light. The one who walks into a room and brings peace. The one who speaks truth without fear. The one who lives with intention, integrity, and influence. That glow is built, not bought. And it begins with deciding you're no longer going to shrink to make others comfortable. You're no longer going to hide parts of yourself to fit in. You're no longer going to let fear dictate your future. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to shine in a way that disrupts the darkness. And even when it's hard, even when you feel like you're not making progress, remember that every small act of courage, every silent decision to keep growing, every time you choose hope over despair, that's evolution. That's light being birthed in you. That's the glow evolution mentor rising. Because evolving and illuminating doesn't mean you never fall. It means you rise differently every time you do. You get back up with more clarity, more compassion, more strength, and eventually your glow becomes undeniable. People start to see the difference in how you speak, how you walk, how you carry your purpose, not because you're trying to impress them, but because you finally accepted that you were never here to just survive. You are not the version of you that settled. You are the version that chose to rise. And as you evolve, your life becomes a mirror for others to see what's possible. Your glow becomes a spark for someone else's awakening. Your journey becomes evidence that you can transform even when everything around you says you can't. This is why you're here. Not to barely get by, but to become, to shine, to lead, to glow. So step into that purpose boldly. You were made for more, and now is the time to claim it. Fear is not your enemy, it's a doorway to growth. The moment you understand this, your entire relationship with fear changes. Instead of treating it as something to run from, you begin to recognize it as a sign that something important is on the other side. Fear only shows up when you're approaching a breakthrough, when you're standing on the edge of something unfamiliar yet necessary for your evolution. It's not a signal to stop, it's a signal to lean in, to rise, to stretch beyond the limits that have held you hostage for far too long. Every time you feel fear, it's not trying to destroy you, it's testing whether you're ready to become more than you've ever been. Fear thrives on the unknown. It whispers stories of what could go wrong, how you might fail, how others might judge you. It magnifies your doubts and minimizes your strengths, but it has no real power unless you surrender to it. It only grows when you feed it. And yet, within that same fear lies the energy that can fuel your glow. If you can face it, walk with it, and move forward in spite of it, you'll discover a strength that was sleeping inside you all along. The Glow Evolution Mentor doesn't emerge in moments of certainty. It's born in the moments when your heart is pounding, your knees are shaking, and yet you take the step anyway. Growth is uncomfortable. It requires letting go of who you were to become who you're meant to be. That process often brings fear to the surface, not because you're weak, but because your comfort zone is being challenged. The fear you feel is not a barrier, it's a teacher. It's pointing you toward the exact place you need to go to evolve. When you stop resisting fear and start listening to it, you learn things about yourself that comfort could never teach you. You learn that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of it. Think back to the moments in your life when you grew the most. Were you comfortable? Probably not. Were you sure of everything? Definitely not, but you moved anyway, you made the call, you took the risk, you spoke the truth. And even if the outcome wasn't perfect, you became more real, more awake, more powerful. Fear didn't stop you then, and it won't stop you now. It can't. Because deep down, you've already decided that your glow matters more than your fear. Your evolution matters more than staying safe. And that decision is what turns fear into fuel. You weren't meant to live a small life. You weren't meant to stay silent, to hide, to shrink in the presence of risk. You were made to expand, to express, to lead with boldness. That requires courage. And courage isn't given, it's built one brave choice at a time. Every time you say yes to growth, yes to healing, yes to becoming, even when fear is present, your glow intensifies. You become proof that fear can be felt and still not win. That fear can speak, but doesn't get to write the story. You must understand that every version of yourself you admire, the confident one, the powerful one, the mentor within, was shaped through moments of fear, not by avoiding it, but by confronting it. Fear will always visit when you're about to level up. That's not failure, that's confirmation, that's alignment, that's transformation trying to reach you. So don't run, don't shrink, don't wait until the fear goes away. Walk through it, talk to it, outgrow it. Let fear become your invitation to evolve. Because on the other side of it is your glow, brighter, fuller, bolder than ever before. You are the proof that transformation is possible. This truth lives in every scar you carry, every chapter you thought would end you, and every moment you chose to keep moving forward when it would have been easier to quit. Your life, with all its chaos, heartbreak, victories, and lessons, is not random. It's a roadmap of growth. You've already overcome things that once felt impossible, and because of that, you don't need to convince anyone with words. You are the living evidence that change, healing, and evolution are not only real, but reachable. People may not always see your glow at first, but the energy you carry, the quiet strength in your voice, the light in your resilience, tells a story of someone who didn't just survive, but transformed. There's a version of you from the past who would look at where you are now and be stunned. That version of you, the one who cried silently, who doubted their worth, who stood in front of mirrors questioning everything, never imagined this much growth could happen, and yet it did. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You decided that your story didn't end in pain. You chose to evolve. You let the fire refine you, not consume you. And that choice alone makes you a walking example of what's possible when a person refuses to let circumstances define them. Sometimes we think transformation only counts when it's loud, visible, or celebrated, but the most powerful changes often happen in silence, in private battles, in small decisions that nobody clapped for, in moments when you picked yourself up off the floor, wiped your tears, and kept believing in something better even when nothing around you showed signs of change. Those are the real milestones. Those are the pieces of your journey that qualify you to glow. Not because you have it all together, but because you kept showing up, you kept growing, and you refused to give up on the light within you. Your evolution didn't just happen, you built it. With every difficult conversation you had with yourself, with every boundary you set, with every habit you broke, with every lie you unlearned about who you were and what you deserved. And now you stand not just as a survivor of the past, but as proof that the future can be different, that a person can be broken and still beautiful, that someone can walk through darkness and still shine, that transformation is not reserved for the lucky, it's available to the willing. There are people watching you even now who are trying to find hope in their own mess. They may never tell you, but your glow gives them permission to believe in their own. Your strength becomes their mirror. Your courage reminds them that it's okay to start over, to heal, to grow at their own pace. And that's why your story matters, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. It's raw, it's layered with truth, and that truth carries power. You never know who needs your example, who is holding on because you showed them it's possible to rise again. You are not who you were, and that alone is victory. Every version of you that chose healing over hatred, faith over fear, love over bitterness, that version helped build the glow you carry today. You didn't just change, you transformed. And because of that, you're not just surviving this world, you're shaping it. Every time you walk into a room, speak your truth, or show up authentically, you become a light in someone else's darkness. You are not just the proof of transformation. You are the invitation for others to believe it can happen for them too. That is the power of your glow.